Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to Noir Syndrome. My name is Splattercat and I'm happy to be your host as we play through Glass Knuckle Games, fantastic little roguelite investigative shooter action game. We appear to, in the last couple of cases, developed a severe case of bullet magnetism, and so having been a professional bullet stop for the last couple episodes, I think we're going to actually try and finish this one off. We're going to be playing it as the male detective this time, so let's go with him. And heading on back, we step on out into the cold night air to find ourselves a killer. Alrighty, give Jasper that pet like we always do, check the cabinets for anything that might be useful in here because this is our first location. On the desk we find $16. Should be helpful in getting ourselves fed should we find ourselves hungry in the future. A note, nobody is out to get you, for now. Okay, well at least nobody's out to get us, that's a good thing to know. And so I'm going to start this one off a little bit differently. Let's go to the speakeasy. I think this time as we play through, I'm going to go in a different order than I previously do. We find nothing on the counter with the wide selection of alcoholic beverages. Raymond Young wants to know what the city's come to. The vendor gets in the way of my search of the table. Hopefully she'll move in just a moment, or he'll move, or whoever will move. This girthy individual who is blocking my view of my cocktail table. We're not going to steal from the safe this time, because that never works out for me. Alice Robinson is put on the tab, and we also find ourselves a police ID, leading us to believe that the suspect is 100% a police officer. Kenneth Miller says that it's Elizabeth Walker who done it. We pet Buttons because it's just happy to see an animal around. We find nothing on the table, amidst all the random bullets and refuse. How many mobsters are down in here? If there's only like one mobster, I'm gonna steal from the safe. There's two? Ah well. You'd think that we'd learn our lesson by now, and by we I mean me. And I have, so we're going to walk away, and we're going to hope that we don't find ourselves perforated during the course of this investigation. We found good evidence here, and I'd like to put it to use rather than, taking it to an early grave. Let's head to City Hall this time. I'm going out of order. I'm not going to use any of my hot spots like the slums. Raymond Young is added to our suspects by George Scott. Dorothy Jackson is then added shortly thereafter. Looks like our list is getting a little bit thicker. Shirley Scott's got nothing to offer. She mostly just seems scared. William Baker is added to our suspects because he gives this lady the creeps. It's not much to go on, but we'll note it for later use. On the bottom floor, we go through some of the desks. We find information that implicates John Williams from the lips of Robert Moore. We find $6 and not much else. So we head back on upstairs to leave into the city night. Or the city morning. I don't really know if our turn takes place in the morning or the evening. I'm going to say the night because it sounds more noir. Noir is typically one of those words that if I see it affixed to anything, I automatically hate whatever that thing is that it's attached to. But in the case of this game, I think it's a pretty good descriptor. Got ourselves a mob gathering up at the mechanic shop. Let's go have a chat. Raymond Young's got nothing for us. Chutney ain't either. He's keeping silent, just like his owner. Find a bullet casing inside a car. It's not much to go on, but it's better than finding nothing at this location, so hot lead in pocket, or cold lead in pocket, we step back on out to choose a new location. I think the market sounded mighty fine because I'm feeling a little bit hungry, so we head to the market for to score ourselves some produce. Virginia Jackson, nothing to say. A lockpick on a shelf might help us find something later, though. Selling apples. Not really interested. We'll buy a mango for $5, which will get us back up to normal. The meat here is fresh and it's still dripping. I think I've seen about enough blood for today. Lois Clark's got nothing. And the shelves don't offer anything up either aside from delicious looking fruits. I think now it's time to check in with the police and see what they have to say about this whole thing, considering the only incriminating evidence we have so far points at an officer of the law. Mary White is added to the list of suspects by Henry Brown, who's terrified of her. She's a scary lady from all the information we've gathered. Mary White, she turns the other cheek and says that there's nothing to be worried about, but that is what she would say. We can buy bullets from this officer here. We find an iron button on a shelf next to a gun. George Scott says that everybody they know seems to be scared to leave his house. And $8 on the police commissioner's desk. He won't miss it. Let's check the cells for anything that might have been left behind. It appears as though our culprit was at one point incarcerated because it's definitely a female culprit. Cell 2 and 3 are empty, though. Let's have a look at our list of notes and see what we've got so far. We've got a police ID, so we know for sure it's a police officer. We know it's a female police officer, but we don't know what else she's been up to. As for right now, we need to find the hobbies that will indicate who will be our culprit. Because at the moment, we've got Marie White, who is our only female police suspect. Now, we could put the cuffs on her right this second, but I'm going to let them cool for a little while. I don't want to get the wrong thing again. We haven't closed a case in about 4 episodes, so I'm feeling like it's in our best interest to continue investigating until we've got the 100% on this one. Virginia Jackson is found dead in a pool of blood at the nightclub. Let's go give it a look. Nothing on the table. Nothing on stage. It's a quiet evening. Find $6. We use a lockpick to get into the back room. If there's anything in the wine cellar, I want to know about it. A leather wallet is found. What that indicates, I'm not really sure. A civilian or police. Alright, so another piece of worthless evidence that we're probably not going to be able to apply. Either way, not a horrible joint to spend the night in, aside from the dead bodies and gun smoke and whatnot. Well, thinking about where we've been and where we're going, we haven't been to the City Hotel yet, we haven't been to the slums yet, we haven't been to the Watchtower yet. We are looking for evidence. So I'm thinking we probably want to go to the City Hotel right about now and see what we can find there. Henry Brown, he's just not in the mood, but who would be amidst the ambiance of murder, death, and blood? Nothing on the couch. Mixed drinks for $10. Shirley Scott's got nothing. We find $7. A tip left for a pianist who's no longer in the vicinity. Couple of gents selling objects up here. Nothing that I'm necessarily interested in. Alice Robinson denies the accusations that she's the killer. Robert Moore is added to the list by Albert Brown. We find nothing on the grand piano. Let's go up to the top floors. We've got 2 lockpicks remaining, and I think we can put those to good use. We find $5 in a cabinet. And rats upstairs. I think there's usually somebody staying in this room, but I'm going to sit here for a second until we see him walking around with my super awesome X-ray vision. Well, maybe we won't use the lockpicks right now. Let's go and we'll investigate. Let's finally hit the slums, or maybe we'll hit the murderer's hideout. With 6 days left, we need this trail to get a little bit warmer. And so I'm thinking we'll go and check out the old hideout. Tends to be good stuff here. See what we can find. Lois Clark says that she's a little busy at the moment. Her unfortunate name aside, I wish we could have gotten a little bit more information out of her. I wonder how many Superman jokes she hears on a regular basis. We find paperwork in the bed, which helps us out pretty much zero. We could open the door right there, but all it's going to lead us to is an old musty diary. It's not really going to help out the investigation much. Let's go to the warehouse and see what we can find. I don't go over here very often. I don't think you guys have seen it yet. Find $2 in a stack of crates. Surely the mob won't miss $2. Everyone's counting on you, detective. The mobster says in a rather laconic way, a smirk on his face. Raymond Young denies the accusations that he's the killer. Same with Elizabeth Walker. Mary Young is added to the list of suspects by Raymond Allen. I can't help but wonder how his mobster friends would feel, knowing that he's giving away information to the police. John Williams once again denies the accusations. We bought a lockpick for $10, not really that helpful. What do you sell? $100 for information on the killer. $75 in our pocket, we're just a little bit short. Then again, that's the story of our lives here. $15 for a pack of 3 bullets. I don't plan on shooting anybody tonight. And so we leave the warehouse a little bit the wiser for our list of suspects. With 4 days left, we could go to the old city fort. We could go to the diner and catch dinner. Feeling a little bit hungry, and so that's what I decided to do. Sometimes it's good to let your stomach rule. Raymond Young denies the accusations. We find colored inks on a table, and also sunglasses. A couple of clues in the same location that may help us seal the deal. Let's talk to one of the waitresses. Get ourselves a pot roast. Just like Mom used to make, feeling much better. Stuffed to the gills even. We see if we can't finish this thing off. Raymond Young is now dead. Murdered at the police station. Looking at the clues that we have, we know the bad guy's an artist or a tailor. He's a police officer. She's a police officer, so it's a female police officer with a penchant for either tailoring or artistry. Looking at our list, we have Marie White, who is our only culprit. Closing the menu down, Marie White is a tailor. Let's make one last stop. We've got 3 days left, and I think we should probably go to the department store just to make sure, since we've been finding so many tailoring-related goods. Find $6 in the pockets of some clothes that haven't even been bought yet. Henry Brown is snitched out by his friend, or the guy that's afraid of him. Find a bunch of cash, but nothing that's really going to help us out too much. Henry Brown asks if we're trying to accuse him of murder. We quickly deny it, and just say that we're trying to get the facts straight. $78 in cash. I think it's time for us to catch a killer. I think Marie White's who we're going for. I make sure one more time with the evidence. An artist is a police officer, a female police officer. It's gotta be Marie White. Let's go put the cuffs on her and see how this whole thing comes to an end. We might be wrong, but we did the best we could with what we had in the time allotted. Our culprit was last seen at the old hideout. We hope for no trouble as we gulp and make sure the pistol's loaded. Freeze, lady. You're under arrest. We got her. Case closed. The suspect was arrested successfully. The law will take it from here. My name is Splattercat. Thank you for joining me this evening for another episode of Noir Syndrome. That was Case Files number 4. I look forward to seeing you all in the next episode, Case Files number 5. Let me know if you're interested in seeing more of these in the future, or if you're all tired out from all the murder. See you guys in the next episode.